so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality. And the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another. Which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week. To help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host for the day, Erica Middlemiss. I am just another reflection and extension of you who will be here filling in for our beloved host, Brandon Beecham, leading the way to ensure your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always an honor for me and a pleasure to be here and holding down the ship while Brandon is away. So thank you for being with me. It's awesome as I start recording. It's 2:22 on my clock. So, and as I say that, 11.1 on the counter. So hopefully, that's a good sign, right? It is a good sign. It's always a good sign. So we'll see what comes out today. I have some good stuff planned for us, actually inspired from a question on our Facebook page by Karen, spelled with a C. But before we get into that, I would like to read a review as always. And you guys know how much we love getting these and how much it fuels Brandon's fire to continue doing this podcast on a daily basis. And, you know, we appreciate every single one of you who does this, and it helps people find us. So this review is by KK Light and Love. And she titled it, Listen Anytime, Anywhere, Thought-Provoking and Inspirational. I can't say thank you enough, Brandon, and everyone involved in the podcast. 1 year plus of listening. It's truly a wonderful space. The energy here is contagious, and it is a gift to listen to so many beautiful souls and gain wisdom and knowledge from all of your experiences. I am introverted, highly sensitive, spiritual, and listening in has helped me in so many ways. I haven't had an easy life, but it has made me who I am today, and your podcast helps me continue to turn to love. Keep doing the work that you're doing. The world is hungry for P-heads. P.S. You are infinitely loved. P.S. I'd love an episode on finding your purpose / taking the next step. Well, thank you, KK Light and Love. You said a lot there in not a lot of words, but actually it's a lot of the things that I planned on talking about today. One of the things of continuing to turn to love, even though life has been hard. That is what life's all about. If we can always try to find the love in the moment. And this podcast helps us do that, doesn't it? So thank you, Brandon. And thank all of you who listen every day and continue to spread these good vibes. And you also said you are infinitely loved. So the Facebook post that I saw that I was intrigued about talking about is about infinity. And we are all infinitely loved, aren't we? It's hard to remember sometimes, but we are all so infinitely loved. The question on Facebook said, eternity. Who's got some thoughts on the subject? Something that has always been and will always be. but then it never began. It just always was. I'm perplexed. Existing outside of time, source just is. Who's got wisdoms to share? Yeah, not an easy concept to wrap our human brains around. And I don't think we're really supposed to be able to really get it, because I know for myself, the minute I even try to grasp it and I think I get it for just a second, then I realize, nope, don't get it. It's bigger than that. And my mind, my human capacity just can't do it. And I just don't think it's for this kind of level of experience that we're in, but we can try. Yeah. And for me, I'm like, who am I to try? I'm going to go look to some wise teachings on this topic. And for me, that always goes back to a couple things. One, the law of one, channelings, which I think is such an incredible body of material, very, very dense material, but wow, filled with so much knowledge and love, which is why I like it so much. And two, the work of Dolores Cannon, who is, if you've heard me before on this podcast, you've probably heard me mention Dolores Cannon a million times, because I love her and I think her work is amazing. And if you want to know all the things about the universe and how it works and why we're here, then check out her work. She's got like 20 plus books that goes through it all. So I'm going to touch a little bit on the teachings of both those, the Law of One and Dolores Cannon today. And we're going to talk about infinity, which in the Law of One, which I'll tell you just a little bit about what it is in case you haven't heard of it before. But it's a channeled material. It's 5 books. It's called The Raw Material. And the channeling was done by 3 different individuals. And the power of the triad of the 3 of them, each one of the qualities that each one of them held was what was given the ability for this transmission to come through. It's a very narrow band transmission, they call it. So very high vibe, very centered on unity and light and love. I'm really skeptical of most channeling. I'm kind of a scientific brain, so I look at things with kind of a fine tune, and This channeling, I think, is pretty right on. And I think Brandon always says, if it's the message that resonates with you, then it's true. So for me, this material is very true. So they actually define unity here in the Law of One. It's in book 1. And they say, consider, if you will, that the universe is infinite. This has yet to be proven or disproven, but we can assure you that there is no end to yourselves, your understanding, what you would call your journey of seeking, or your perceptions of the creation. That which is infinite cannot be many, for manyness is a finite concept. To have infinity, you must have identity, or define the infinity as unity. Otherwise, the term does not have any referent or meaning. In an infinite creator, there is only unity. You have seen simple examples of unity. You have seen the prism which shows all colors stemming from the sunlight. This is a simplistic example of unity. In truth, there is no right or wrong. There is no polarity, for all will be, as you would say, reconciled at some point in your dance through the mind-body-spirit complex, which you amuse yourself by distorting in various ways at this time. This distortion is not in any case necessary. It is chosen by each of you as an alternative to understanding the complete unity of thought which binds all things. You are not speaking of similar or somewhat like entities or things. You are everything, every being, every emotion, every event, every situation. You are unity. You are infinity. You are love, light. You are light, love. You are. This is the Law of One. So I love the example that they gave of the prism, which shows all the colors when a light is shown through it. So for me, that's a really excellent way to visualize it. And then also that word they were using there, distortion. So a way to visualize distortion is anything that is not of that wholeness of that prism, anything that is that distorted light that comes off of it. So that prism is the creator. And we are distortions of the creator, or specks of the creator's light. So this mind, body, spirit complex is us. It's our entire complex of our mind, our body, and our spirit. They get very complicated with all this terminology, but yeah, in short, that's just what the distortion means. It's anything other than complete love and unity with the one infinite creator. So they go on to say later on in also book 1, and I've talked about this before, I think, but it's always worth going over again because I think this is super powerful. They asked, can you tell me the first known thing in creation? The answer was, the first known thing in creation is infinity. The infinity is creation. Then they asked what happened next. Infinity became aware. So I think those two quick short answers are so powerful because there's a lot in there. Infinity, right? Wrap your brain around that for a second. This unfathomable concept of infinity became aware of its own consciousness. And imagine that big explosion from that awareness, right? We call it the Big Bang. It just exploded out in this conscious awareness. It's the fabric of our existence, this conscious awareness. And it goes on to say, the creator is the focusing of infinity as an aware or conscious principle, called by us as closely as we can create understanding, learning, in your language, intelligent infinity. Wow. So from there, then creation begins. That's how the creation was started. So it goes on to say that the next step is an infinite reaction to the creative principle, following the law of one in one of its primal distortions, freedom of will. Thus, many, many dimensions, infinite in number, are possible. The energy moves from the intelligent infinity due first to the outpouring of randomized creative force, this then creating patterns, which in holographic style appear as the entire creation, no matter which direction or energy is explored. These patterns of energy begin then to regularize their own local, shall we say, rhythms and fields of energy, thus creating dimensions and universes. When I read that, I think about sacred geometry and how sound and vibration is creating our form and how it's just recapitulated over and over again throughout the universe in this holographic sense. It's so beautiful. So I'm going to skip down a little bit and they continue on. The intelligent infinity discerned a concept. This concept was discerned to be freedom of will of awareness. This concept was finity. It was the first and primal paradox or distortion of the law of one. Thus, the one intelligent infinity invested itself in an exploration of manyness. Due to the infinite possibilities of intelligent infinity, there is no ending to manyness. The exploration thus is free to continue infinitely in an eternal present. So wow, that's, yeah, the creator wanted to explore and wanted to learn. So it decided to separate and be many, learn many things, explore many things. And lastly, the last thing it says here, it shall be understood that any portion, no matter how small, of any density or illusory pattern contains, as in a holographic picture, the one creator, which is infinity. Thus, all begins and ends in mystery. So true. It all begins and ends in mystery. And I think that might be a frustrating thought, but it can also be a very comforting thought to know that, you know what, this is all a big mystery and I'm never going to know it all. And that's okay. It's important to just focus right on the present moment where you are right now, knowing that it is a part of this infinite love and unity. So, I talked about Dolores Cannon before, and I want to get into a little bit of what she found about how the creation started and what God is. And if any of you don't know about Dolores Cannon, she is a past life regressionist, but way more than that. She developed a technique that not only accessed past lives, other lives, parallel lives, lives in other dimensions, but most importantly, contact with the higher self. And with her technique, she was able to do instantaneous healing. Not her herself, but the higher self aspect that comes through with each individual, when it's appropriate, is able to offer healing to that individual. And when it's accepted, then healing happens. And it's an absolutely beautiful technique. I practice it myself. I did a session this weekend, which was really great because this is a man who had cancer. He just went through a series of radiation and chemotherapy treatments. And, that's really difficult to go through. I'm sure you all might know someone who has been through that, or maybe you've been through it yourself. And you know how painful and difficult it is for you and for everyone else around you. And he was told in his session that this was a supreme test, one of his chosen lessons, that he needed this catalyst to further strengthen his relationships with his family, to learn how to trust his instincts more, and to be able to be more expressive with his feelings. And it's amazing. He got off the table and, felt better immediately with his swallowing. So that was a nice thing to see. But it made me think a lot about, all of the hard things in life that we go through, because his main attitude towards it in the end was, he said to me, this is such a gift. This is such a beautiful gift that I have been given, because I have learned so much. And if we can do that in these most difficult life circumstances, is to take a step back and say, okay, what did I learn here? What was this trying to teach me? And find gratitude for it. Well, wow, we've passed that test, haven't we? Even though it's a really tough test, but when we can do it, it's really, really rewarding when we can get to that place of always seeing the love in every moment. The more we can do it in the toughest of times, the stronger our result is for our own soul's evolution. So let's take a listen to what Dolores found in her work about creation. So, she's taken thousands and thousands of people through many different lives, through the death experience, through the birth experience, through in-between lives. And she's found the same information throughout many different individuals. And so when she did that, that's when she would put it into a book. And she always knew when she was speaking to that higher aspect of that person, that higher self, that part of us that knows everything. So let's take a listen.
Well, what is God? What is the God source? They always call it the source. It's the same thing. What is it? The first thing you've got to get over, it's not a man. They said, if anything, it would be a woman, because a woman is the creative power. But it's neither. It has no sex. That's only the costume we're wearing here, this part we're playing on earth. The God source is a huge energy source. It is so powerful, it's unbelievable. That is where everything came from. It's total love. It has no sex. It has no definition. They told me, I think it was in the book Between Death and Life, when I first asked about God, back when I wrote that book about 15 years ago, they said, the God is the glue that holds everything together. If it were to wink out for a fraction of a second, everything would disappear. It's so powerful. But they said, your concept of God is like a tiny thread compared to what it really is. You have no concept, you can't understand it. Then they said, imagine those people who are not even into this. Their concept of God isn't even like a tiny thread. They have no idea of what it is, because the church still has it as a being sitting up there on a throne, punishing people. It is a huge, powerful energy source that is tremendous. We all came from that. And it's a totally different way. You imagine people not wanting to leave that. Especially the ones that are sent down here now, and they're coming into this, they call it the muck and the mire. They said it's like a fly caught on fly paper, and they don't like it. I told you the other day, when you come in, all the memories are erased, so you don't remember this. Imagine the confusion it causes. But let me go back to the beginning and explain how you all started out. And then I think you'll understand it a little better. Okay, in the beginning, we were all part of the source. We were all part of God. Everybody came from the same place. I have people coming in with their list of questions. Where did I come from? And so we all came from the same place at the same time. They think they came from another planet, or what was their home? We all started out, home is God. It's the source, this huge, loving, total energy. So that's where we all began, in total love. And when I'm speaking to people when they're there, they don't want to leave. It is so total beautiful. And when they have to separate and leave, it is a feeling of separation, of loneliness, that I want to go back. That's the feeling of wanting to go home. So we have all experienced that. Because in the very beginning, this was this huge, huge energy source. In my new books, they're telling me there was more before that, but I'm not going to go into that right now. It gets very, very confusing. That's what they keep saying, there is more. But anyway, we all began as this huge energy source that was God. He wanted to explore. He wanted to learn. So he exploded out. That's what is called the Big Bang theory. He exploded out, and all these particles and sparks flew out in all directions. Some of these sparks became galaxies, some became planets. Many, many of them became the individual souls. When you take you back to what you really, really are, you're only a tiny, tiny spark. And the people see themselves as that. The soul, the real you, is a tiny, tiny spark that all flew out at the same time when God decided he wanted to explore. We all flew out at that time. And he says, go and learn. Learn as much as you can and bring it back. So that was the whole idea. We're sent out to explore, to learn lessons. That's what all the lives are about, what all the mistakes are about. Nothing is bad, nothing is good. It's all experiences. What do you learn from it? Everything we learn, we eventually take back. Somebody asked me the other day, when do we stop going? Well, when this whole process starts. So, everything in the universe is about accumulating knowledge and information. Everything is about it. The ETs are the same way. They're here to accumulate knowledge and to put it into their computer banks also. But we are here to learn everything we can possibly learn from every life imaginable. That's why you can't do it in one lifetime. That's why you have to have lives as ETs, other planets, energy beings. This is only one school. There are many, many other schools you have been to and you will go to. All of us have been on other planets and other dimensions. And when you get tired of this life here and you think you're finished, you may decide, okay, I'm going to go over to this other planet and see what it's like over there. It's all about exploring and learning more and more. And then we accumulate this and bring it back. In this way, we are cells in the body of God, constantly learning information and transferring it back. So this is what I found out, that even if you don't go into the other lives on other planets and energy beings, when you come to Earth, in Earth school, you have to be everything. This means everything. There's a whole section in the new book where I've had people go back to where they weren't human. I found out, I'm going to put it in linear order, even though I know now it doesn't happen that way. But for instance, you have to be part of the air. And the first time I ever had that happen to somebody, and it's in a book that's out of print now, the one called Legacy from the Stars, a young man wanted to go back to the first life he'd ever lived on Earth. He went back to where he was, when Earth was forming. It hadn't have any life on it yet. There were volcanoes erupting. There was ammonia in the air, and he was still forming to where plants, nothing was here yet. So he was part of the atmosphere with many others, helping to clean the ammonia out of the atmosphere so that life could begin to form. So I kept thinking, here he's a chemical or whatever, and yet he's still communicating with me. So then I found out you have to know what everything is. So you have all done this. And then you have to know what it's like to be the dirt. What is it like to be a rock? I've had people be rocks. Everything is alive. Everything is energy. It's all just vibrating at different frequencies. And when I've had them be a rock, they'll say life is very slow. Doesn't move very fast. And sometimes when they've gone through a life like that, it was teaching them to appreciate freedom. Because look how confining it would be to be a rock. And that's what they told me. So you have to learn all of these things, even if it's something simple like that. So then after you go through that, you have to know what it's like to be plants. And I've had many, many past lives where people were flowers, they were ears of corn, they were grass. And it's all, what did you learn by being that? Everything is alive. Everything has something to teach us. That's what we're trying. You know this, you can be more aware of nature, be more aware of your environment, and protect the environment more if you know you are all a part of it. Everything is a part of each other. And we're not separate. That makes a big difference. And then you have to know what it's like to be an animal. What would it be like to be a wolf and be able to run? What would it be like to be a bird and be able to fly? In the new book, I've got a whole section on life in other forms like this. All of it is teaching us something. Even if they just go through, I had somebody be a little yellow worm, but it was teaching her something that she went through that lifetime. So we eventually get up to the part where we are human. Now, in between there with the plants and the animals are the little people, the fairies and the gnomes and the elves. They're very real. They are the keepers of nature. And we've all been those also. We all have to learn all the parts of all these things so we have it, and it's all in our memory. In one part of the book, they said, you must realize that even the dust of the earth is alive as a bird in flight. It's all alive. And we've all been it. We've all done it. But now we go into the humans. Okay, when you finally get to the human stage, what do you got to learn? Everything. Everything.
So I always love to see the similarities with Dolores Cannon's work and the Law of One. And I know that she did not read this book. I asked her daughter Julia about it because I found so many similarities. I said, did she happen to ever read these books? And she said, nope, she didn't even like to read other books because she didn't like it to interfere with her work. So even more interesting. But so yeah, when she talks about God, she is a huge energy source, that's why we call it source. Total love. God is the glue that holds everything together. And I love the analogy of our concept of God is only just like a tiny thread. Because really, imagine this universe, this huge infinitum as just a tapestry. And our concept being just one tiny thread within that tapestry. We don't know very much, do we? So again, I for me, it's comforting to just kind of say, it's okay. There's only so much we can know in this lifetime. What we can understand is that it's all love. And I think that that's enough. That simple, basic fact that it is all love is really the only understanding that we do need to come to. We don't need to understand all the physics and the details and all the things. We just need to understand that it is all love and unity. And she says, we all come from source. So imagine as a soul for the first time actually having to leave that space. That's pretty difficult. And a lot of us here now on the earth have come directly from source. I've had sessions myself where the person has come directly from source, and this is their first life on earth. It makes it a little more challenging because this is such a difficult place to be. There's so much war and injustice, and the polarity is intense. And so for someone who's coming from complete love and unity, it's kind of shocking. And a lot of them, they always want to go home. They want to go home to source because that's where it's peaceful and loving. And so they feel separate and lonely. But as she said, God wanted to explore. And just like the law of one was saying, he wanted to learn. So he exploded out. I'm saying he, I should be saying, I don't know. There is no he or she in God, right? I guess it's just what's been programmed. But just ignore the pronouns, please. God wanted to explore, exploded out, and became galaxies and planets and souls. Us, we are these tiny sparks of Creator, sent out to learn and experience and accumulate knowledge and information. So much knowledge. There's records of knowledge throughout all of the universes. We have our own Akashic records here on Earth, but other planets have their own records, and universes have their records. In my own personal QHHT session that I had, I was actually a light being who my job was to store this energy in a specific place out in space. So it's like a energetic library of information. So knowledge is the key. This learning, this experience. That's what we came here for, and it wasn't meant to be all peas and carrots all the time. And that's hard to swallow. Why does it have to be so hard? But we don't learn anything unless it is. We don't learn unless we have a little a struggle. We don't learn to see the light unless there is darkness. We don't see that contrast otherwise. So the contrast then really helps us to see that light. Helps us to see that we are really all just cells in the body of God, like Dolores was talking about. Knowing that God just wanted to experience all of it, all the supposed good or bad, where there really is no good or bad because it is all love. Again, another concept that's really hard to wrap our brains around. But if it's all source from this bird's eye perspective, then yes, we can say there is no good, there is no bad. It's all source. But here in this 3D reality, we do feel a little different about that positive and negative sometimes. So I think that the best way that we can actually handle that, because there are, obviously there's negative things around us all the time. War is not a positive thing. Injustice is not a positive thing. These are definitely service to self, not service to others type of things. And we want to focus on serving others and focus on that love. So the best thing that I think that we can do, one of the best things that we can do is when we are encountered with negativity or things that we call negative, that we look to it and see the love in it, as hard as it may be, but trying to accept it for what it is, knowing that it is in the end, in the big grand scheme of things, zoomed out from this 3D reality, that it is a part of the love, and maybe, playing a vital aspect in your own journey, showing you the light, being your angel of light. It's a pretty interesting way to look at it when you think that this negative entity, be it person, thing, what have you, is actually doing you a service. And in the end, that's exactly what's happening. We are learning. Some of us are, being pulled, dragging by our hair, tooth and nail, but we are learning, and we can look to those negative things and we can say, thank you. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for helping me to choose the side of serving love, serving the Creator, serving my other selves, and seeing the unity in all of it. Because we are here to learn and experience all things. Like Dolores always says, we are here to experience emotions and limitations. We are here learning for God. And we have to be everything. We get to do it all. And when you're doing it all, that comes with the difficulties. But that's how we learn. And I think at the end of the day, that is a very, very beautiful thing. It's perspective, yeah? When we can take the perspective of viewing love in the ultimate of darknesses, then again, we're like winning. We're winning the game. So a couple quotes from the Law of One about this. This one is from book 3. This one's on page 29 of book 3. They say, the purpose of incarnative existence is evolution of mind, body, and spirit. In order to do this, it is not strictly necessary to have catalyst. However, without catalyst, the desire to evolve and the faith in the process do not normally manifest, and thus evolution occurs not. Therefore, catalyst is programmed, and the program is designed for the mind-body-spirit complex for its unique requirements. Thus, it is desirable that a mind-body-spirit complex be aware of and hearken to the voice of its experiential catalyst, gleaning from it that which it incarnated to glean. So basically, we choose this. We choose all of these lessons in one way or another before we get here in order to learn certain things. And it is in our best interest to look to those experiences and figure out what it is that we did come here to learn, because once we learn it, we don't have to keep experiencing it, right? We don't have to stay on that hamster wheel doing it over and over again until we get it. So speaking of, y'all, if there is something going on in your life that keeps happening, like same relationship, same ice cream, different flavor, just, different job, same situation, whatever it may be, look to that lesson, see what you're supposed to learn, ask yourself, how did I handle it? Did I see the love in it? Did I see the gratitude? What am I supposed to learn here? And when you can learn it, hopefully, when you do learn it, then it will stop. Then on to the next one, because the journey never ends. But at least we can move on to something else, a newer, more exciting lesson maybe. Just an example that they have given in book 2 on page 52, they talk about the catalyst of pain, which is common to a lot of us. And they say that pain may be of the physical complex. More often, it is of the mental and emotional complex. In some few cases, the pain is spiritual in the complex nature. This creates a potential for learning. The lessons to be learned vary. Almost always, these lessons include a patience, tolerance, and the ability for light touch. Very often, the catalyst for emotional pain, whether it be the death of the physical complex of one other self which is loved, or other seeming loss, will simply result in the opposite, in a bitterness and impatience, a souring. This is catalyst which has gone awry. In these cases, then, there will be additional catalysts provided to offer the unmanifested self further opportunities for discovering the self as all-sufficient creator, containing all there is and full of joy. So, just like I was saying, if the catalyst isn't used properly, then we'll see it again. but it's just there for our learning. And I know that it's hard to think of the difficulties that we're experiencing in life, and think that we chose it, and to think that it's a lesson of some sort, and it's not it's not a punishing type of lesson. It's a lesson that we chose for our own soul's evolution. And at the end of the day, when we can, maybe we'll know this when we die, when we can see it from the spirit perspective, we will see it clearly, and we'll understand why we chose these things, why we chose these villains in our life. And we can look at that quote unquote villain in our life and see that this was a contract, and we were teaching each other something. So we helped each other. So you looked like the villain. You played the villain in this life. And maybe I played a villain in your life another time, but we taught each other. We helped each other. We helped each other evolve. And that's the point. Helping each other, loving each other, evolving together. All us beautiful souls, remembering we are unity, we are love, we are one. I love you all. I hope I didn't confuse you all with this law of one density, such dense material. But really, really good info. So I always love sharing it. So until next time, y'all, hope you have a beautiful day. And speaking of beautiful days, I am going to play a song to leave you with today. This song is by Satsang, and it's called Beautiful Days. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear Brandon constantly say, it is a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration, and if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place we know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.
Every hour that I spend down on bending knees, screaming to the sky, saying let me be. Now I am grateful, so grateful for every single one of my lost friends who travel through tunnels with no light at the end. I am thankful, so thankful for every day that I awake and the sun comes up, for the woman that I love and the tea in my cup, for the kids that I'm raising that help raise me, for the man that I was and the one that I'll be, yeah. These are some beautiful days we're living in, and I couldn't be more thrilled with the skin I'm in. I said I'm present and grateful for that I got, and the love keep me moving. Said the love keep me moving, cause there ain't no need to stop. La da 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 da. Hey, hey, hey. For the fact that I was abused as a child and still possess the strength to wear a smile, I am grateful, so grateful. And for the angry young man that I used to be and the one I become for my family, I am thankful, so thankful. And for my 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 heart to build strength, 1 voice, 6 strings, and the love that they bring. 4 sister, 4 brother, 2 father, 2 mother, 1 daughter, 2 sons, 1 woman, that's love. These are some beautiful days we're living in, and I couldn't be more thrilled with the skin I'm in. I said I'm present and grateful for that I got, and the love keep me moving. Said the love keep me moving, cause there ain't no need to stop. La da 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 da. Hey. Some beautiful days we're living in, and I couldn't be more still with the skin I'm in. I said I'm present and grateful for that I got, and the love keep me moving. Said the love keep me moving, cause there ain't no need to stop. La da 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 da. Hey. No need to stop. 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 No need to stop.